Hello everybody and welcome back to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler and this week we are having some fun with Death Cloud. That's right everybody, Death Cloud. X and 3 black, each player loses X life, discards X cards, sacrifices X creatures, and X lands. Our deck is built to abuse this card. It's symmetrical, right? Yeah, spoilers, it's really not because we have some Kitchen Finks in the main deck and Sideboard to bring back. We have Garruk Wildspeakers, we have Ob Nixilis Reignited, we have Thragtusk give you value when they die, we have Vraska the Unseen, we even have a Garruk Apex Predator here. You'll notice the one word that was not on Death Cloud is Planeswalkers. If you have Planeswalkers in play, you cast a Death Cloud, well, you're going to be in a good spot after that because you can still activate all of their abilities. So, the rest of the deck, by the way, I also have Liliana in the Veil. The rest of the deck around that, right? Death Cloud has kind of existed in older formats, but it's probably been a decade since this has been a playable competitive deck. But I think this build here, and this is shout out to Brian from my hometown, who top-aided a PPTQ with this a couple weeks ago, and helped me, get the list to play. I think this is pretty close to legitimately good in Modern. Look at what we've got here. We're basically a black-green Ponza deck instead of a green-red Ponza deck. We have Utopia Sprawls and Arbor Elves that the red-green decks do. Well, we have the Rain of Tears here instead of the Molten Rains. We still have the Monvuli Acid Mosses. So you look at it thus far, we're actually very similar to that deck. Now, what we don't have is we don't have Bloodbraid Elves, right? That's a great card. It's hard to make up for that one. We don't have the Stormbreath Dragons. But the Bloodbraid Elf is really the only concession, I think, that we make with this deck because we get, instead of those things, we get all these Planeswalkers. Instead of having Stormbreath Dragon and Thundermaw Hellkite or Inferno Titan or these expensive cards that sometimes you don't get to, or sometimes they just eat removal or whatever, and you don't really get any value out of them. Instead, we have cards you're always going to get value out of. Planeswalkers, Liliana the Veil, Garruk Wildspeaker, Vraska the Unseen, Garruk Apex Predator, Ob Nixilis Reignited. You're going to get value out of these cards no matter what. So, with that in mind, now we're just trying to clean up the board to play around our Planeswalkers. That's why you see Fatal Pushes, Abrupt Decays, Damnations, Maelstrom Pulse here. Those cards are going to help us keep the board clear while we build our Planeswalkers up, build up an advantage, building towards a Death Cloud. And it doesn't have to be this crazy, Death Cloud for 5 or 6. You just play Death Cloud for 2 or 3 on turn 4, and you're going to get the last 3 cards out of your opponent's hand. You're going to take away most of their lands. You're going to wipe their board, and except you might have a Utopia Sprawl on a forest left over, or you might have a Garruk Wildspeaker in play to make beasts or untap your lands. That's what you do with the deck. You might have a Kitchen Finks in play, you sacrifice it and persist back. You might have a Thragtusk you get a beast out of. That's what the deck does. You might still have Liliana. You're going to control the game, and you're going to make both players be top decking with no lands and probably no creatures, but you're going to have Planeswalkers to get there. Now, the other thing we retain from the Ponza decks that are green-red is we get to have some really broken starts. We can go Utopia Sprawl and Arbor Elf. Arbor Elf on 1, turn 2, play second land, play Utopia Sprawl, put it on the first land, tap it for 2, untap it with Arbor Elf, tap it for 2 more. That's 4 mana, and Bloodbraid Elf is the payoff, or Molten Rains or whatever in green-red Ponza. We have the same thing. We can Rain of Tears to destroy land. We can even play Garruk Wildspeaker, untap those 2 cards, get 3 more mana, and still play a Rain of Tears on turn 2. That's the thing this deck can do. You can have in play on turn 2, Arbor Elf, Utopia Sprawl, Garruk Wildspeaker, and you will have Rain of Tears. And that's what you can do with this deck. It's got some crazy power levels. You get a lot of great turn 3 plays. I mean, it is insane. So, everybody, that is the deck. The sideboard here, pretty much what you expect. We've got Golgari Charms. This is underrated, by the way. It can regenerate your creatures through Wrath. Kills a bunch of creatures. You can also kill Blood Moons or, search for Askantas or Phyrexian Unlives or whatever you want with this card. Leyline of the Void's kind of a concession to the meta of today. Dampen Spheres or combo Kitchen Finks to grind it out some more. Pretty much what you expect. Battle of the Bridge, this is not bad if, you're, say, a Merfolk or a Humans type thing. It's removal, but also gains you some life, which can be pretty relevant. And then, of course, Artifact Hate. Whoa, Nylea, this is a nice one. Combos pretty well with Kitchen Finks, just keep them coming back forever. Pretty fun card to grind people out. Plus, you can kill Lingering Souls tokens. All right, everybody, that's the deck. Death Cloud in Modern. This deck is legitimately good. I am excited that we got to play it. We played against Mardu Pyromancer with this deck. We played against White Blue Control with this deck. We played against the new Bridgevine deck. And you can see in all these matchups as you go watch them, we had a lot of these cards come up huge, a lot better than it looks some of these different cards, right? They performed as all-stars. Very, very happy with their performance this deck put up. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mining Modern. Enjoy the games. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler, and this is Death Cloud. That's right, everybody. Shout out to Brian from my hometown who top 8 at PPTQ with this. I saw it, and I had to give it a shot. Death Cloud is a lot of fun. For those who don't know, it is 3 black X. Each player sacrifices X creatures, X lands, loses X life, and discards X cards. So, of course, hey, that's a symmetrical effect. In fact, we're even down a card on it. Seems terrible for us, right? Well, it turns out it's not. It turns out that our deck is built to abuse it. All right, so if we can, we're going to lose our Rain of Tears here. It's the only legal target, which is unfortunate. I was really hoping to Rain of Tears our opponent on turn 2. Essentially, we're playing, it's a Black-Green Ponza deck, right? I know that sounds so weird to say, but you replace the Molten Rains with Rain of Tears. You replace the Chandras with Lilianas and Garruk. You replace some of the 5-drop creatures like Stormbreath dragons with your 5-drops in this deck, which is more planeswalkers. We're talking Vraskas, Ob Nixilises, that sort of thing. But what it does is it has better matchups because you get to play black. You get to play nice sideboard cards like Leyline of the Void and stuff. Oh my gosh, we did it. Wow, we're going to live the dream, everybody. Oh, I can't believe that. Oh, yes! Yes! This is so good! This is all I've ever wanted out of Modern. Look at this. We're on the play. It's turn 2. We have 4 mana to play Monvuli Acid Moss. We just said our opponent has no lands in play, and we have access to 1,000,000 mana. What do you say? I hope they have a Thoughtseize, because if not, I'm playing an Ob Nixilis, and I'm drawing some cards. What a draw. What a rip. Utopia Sprawl right there. Woo! I've done this with Ponza. I said we're a black Ponza deck. And man, look at that. All right, I don't know what our opponent's up to. Probably Hollow One, I guess. So this, I mean, they're going to be fine. And in fact, they have 7 cards in their hand and we have 2. But Ob Nixilis is pretty nice. As long as our opponent doesn't, really go off on us here and put multiple Hollow Ones into play, we're going to be okay because Ob Nixilis is going to be able to get us back in the game. We've put a lot of resources to get to this point, but it's a good point to be at. And we just get to now refill our hand with Ob Nixilis ticking up the whole time here. And they discarded a Blood Moon and a Liliana. All right, so it might actually be Mardu Pyromancer or something here. So I can play Ob Nixilis or Vraska. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, I have 7 mana. All right, so 1, 2 there. 3, 4. I guess I'm just going to do this. Because I can attack this way. Or untap if I, punish a little bit, but not too badly. Get an attack this way. Well, I don't want to get Blood Mooned, but that wouldn't even be the worst right now. Young Pyromancer, huh? Okay. That's a bunch of land. I think I just play it safe, and I just minus our Ob Nixilis here to destroy that. And then I play Vraska. I just get to tick Vraska up until we make tokens. Assassin tokens, as it were. Now, we get in a little bit of trouble here if our opponent has removal. Because this is, maybe I should have used actually, this might have been a mistake. Maybe I should have used the Vraska to destroy the Young Pyromancer and the Ob Nixilis to just keep drawing cards. Because if they just Lightning Bolt our Ob Nixilis and then we whiff on drop steps for several turns, that would actually be pretty bad for us. Okay, they're going to terminate our Arbor Elf instead, though. All right, so Crisis averted. We're certainly not doing too much, though, are we? All right, play Arbor Elf. I say not too much. We're going to get some Assassin tokens from this Vraska. Probably not next turn. I don't think I'll be using it. But, by the way, I'll read this to you. I don't blame you for not knowing what Vraska the Unseen does. It's understandable. Create 3 1/1 Black Assassin creature tokens with, quote, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Yeah. Depending on what they do, I might even just pull the trigger and make some. Because one of them could easily get through here. Which would be pretty sick. Oh my gosh, they're Faithless Looting? Yeah, I'm making some tokens. The only thing we get punished by is like Anger of the Gods, essentially. We even have this Fatal Push if they have a young Pyromancer, try to make tokens to block. This is nice. I hope I win with this. I've literally never even cast a Vraska in Modern. I hope I get to win with an Assassin token. We are flooding out pretty severely, though. Is it worth it? I feel like we could get punished. But you know what? I don't mind Modern to not make Assassin tokens, alright? That's all I have to say. Oh, I've misplayed my land. Oh well. We have plenty of mana. Our opponent has to string together multiple things to deal with this. If they spend mana on a board, if they had a main deck board wipe or something, they're spending a bunch of mana to do that. Then we just get to keep doing our thing with Ob Nixilis. Right, they're going to Young Pyromancer. I think we're going to get there with the Fatal Push. I won't lie. I think this is good enough. Oh yeah. Yeah, it is. We did it! All right, I know they didn't take the damage, but you know what? That counts, everybody. We won with an Assassin token. It counts. You saw it. It happened. They just prematurely scooped to it, but it happened. If I was playing in paper and they started to pick up their cards, I'd turn them sideways anyways and say, Assassin token. Gotcha. All right, Mardu Pyromancer, huh? All right, looks like I probably want some Kitchen Finks here. I think I like Golgari Charms. They kill most of their cards. Garruk Apex Predator seems pretty slow. We probably cut a Death Cloud as much as I like Death Cloud here. Like having some of the Damnations. The Liliana seem mediocre. I'm going to cut a Mumvuli Acid Moss, especially on the draw. On the draw, Liliana is just a lot worse. I want some Leyline of the Voids. I know that. I don't know how many I want, but I do want them. I guess on the draw I can just cut the Lilies entirely. Gosh, that doesn't feel great, though. Liliana's so strong. Maybe I can cut a Finks here. We have to not get Blood Mooned. I'm going to cut a Finks. I'm going to cut a Damnation. I think I like this. I know it's weird not to board in all 4 ley lines. I think it's fine, though. I don't want to flood out on ley lines. And I'm going to obviously get one in my opening hand. Very good at this game. Frank Carson put an article up on Channel Fireball the other day that broke down the math, the odds of having ley lines in your opening hands based on how many ley lines you play, right? And it's actually surprisingly high. I think the most relevant number is if you're willing to mulligan to 6, and you're playing 4 ley lines in your deck, which is usually how you play ley lines, you actually have a 60% chance to have one in an opening hand. Now, that doesn't take into account how playable the rest of your hand is or anything else, but you should have like a 60% chance on your mold, either in your opening hand or on your mold of 6 to have one. That's pretty powerful. All right, all that said, I mean, our hand does need some help here. The Abrupt Decay, our hand is good. We need to draw lands, but our hand is pretty good. And if we can just draw lands, I'd say, and don't get run over by a Pyromancer or something here, I think we're actually pretty well set up for the long game. All right, I'm just going to fetch out a basic forest here. Utopia Sprawlet named Black. So this way we can play our Urborg next turn. Which I guess would actually give us double black, huh? No, I'm thinking about through Blood Moon. But this way we can pass back with Abrupt Decay up. So even if they Blood Moon on 3, we can kill it. Of course, if they play Pyromancer, I probably just have to kill it instead. Which still leaves us in a reasonable position. Brutality instead, okay. Well, our opponent is setting up to Blood Moon us here. Oh, they actually took the Mumvuli Acid Moss. All right. Well, this is sort of the issue with our deck. I say an issue. I mean, we're in a fine spot here. We are very reliant on our mana ramp because we have a lot of 4s and a lot of 5s in the deck and not as many 2s and 3s. And the ones we have outside of basically Kitchen Finks and the mana ramp are reactive. So if our opponent just does nothing, we're essentially taking entire turns off. Or if they just flashback Faithless Looting, well, they can't flash one back, I suppose, in this circumstance. But in the general, you get the idea. If they do something that doesn't affect the board, that we can't interact with our cards, our opponent gets to use this turn to sculpt their hand, whereas we used it to do nothing. And we're in a position now where we desperately need a land off the top of our deck. Now, if we can get one, we get to play Garruk, we get to pass the turn back with Abrupt Decay. Turn after that, we'd get to play Vraska. I mean, we're in a great spot if we hit land. If we don't and we hit one of our million 4s and 5s, we're in a lot of trouble. That said, our opponent is not doing too much. And look at that, they're actually going to pay off our Abrupt Decay here and let us kill a Pyromancer. All right, land off the top of the deck, and we're in a great spot. I'm really good at Magic, everybody. That's all there is to it. It's just that simple. So 1, 2, 3. We're not doing anything with that. Just going to make a beast here. And this is textbook Death Cloud right here. Playing against Mardu Pyromancer, one of the best decks in the format, and just crushing it, at least so far. This turn 0 Leyline obviously doing work, as our opponent has nothing but graveyard value spells like Lingering Souls and Faithless Lootings. They need a Dreadboard to take care of our Garruk, I think. And even then, we still get a beast out of the deal, right? It doesn't look great for them. That was a big turn. If we had missed on that turn, discarded Kumbal, okay. They're going to Thoughtseize our Vraska away. Okay. Well, they did it. I mean, they cleared out our hand. The problem for them is we still have value here. Just make another beast, play my land. I guess I didn't need to play the land there, but now we can cast basically whatever we draw. Well, they got a young Pyromancer, but nothing to go with it. I guess I just want to swing with one of these. I mean, if our opponent draws a Lightning Bolt or something here, they get to kill our Garruk, but that was going to be true no matter what we did. So it would obviously be, I mean, them drawing Lightning Bolt when we drew land would be kind of objectively pretty bad for us, but we'll see. It's a Molten Rain, huh? That's pretty good, actually. And we have an Arbor Elf. Well, this works out fine. I'm going to make another beast. I'm going to attack with these 2 beasts. That was not a bad draw for our opponent, but they needed a great draw there because even just drawing this stupid Arbor Elf means that we now have 3 beasts in play. The Arbor Elf threatens a trade with the Pyromancer. The Elemental runs into the beast. Hey, they found the Dreadboard. Might be a little too late, though. I mean, we do have 10 power in play right here. I could cast that. I guess if I attack and they go block, 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 they could chump one, trade with the other, leaving us with 4. I'm just going to attack with the beasts. I think it's the difference between putting them at 2 and putting them at 3, depending on how they decide to line up blocks. And I'd much rather just slam this Thragtusk post-combat and ride that to victory. This was a pretty nice game. Our opponent had a good hand, but we had a really nice green-black Ponza, also known as Death Cloud hand. So I don't even know what our opponent was supposed to do there. I guess it depends on what's in their deck. As a matter of fact, well, you might be able to make the argument I should do nothing here. I'm going to go ahead and play it, but I guess it's reasonable to say that I could have done nothing if we decide that the only card we're worried about is Anger of the Gods. But that doesn't even matter because this leaves the battlefield. It's not even when it dies. So we get our 3/3 beast no matter what. So there you go. We did it. Wow, that game 1. That turn 2, Monvuli Acid Moss. So we did it, everybody. We took down Mardu Pyromancer just like that with Death Cloud. Thank you for watching. That was a great game. This is Mighty Modern. One more shout out to Brian from my hometown for putting me onto this deck. Having a lot of fun with it. That was great. We've got some more Mighty Modern here. We're on the play, and I like this hand. This is a turn 2 Rain of Tears right here. Raining Tears, everybody. This art's so cool. Funny story, when I started playing Magic, some friends of mine had 10th edition cards. I actually saw Rain of Tears before I ever saw Stone Rain. So to me, every Stone Rain is just a Rain of Tears. That's how it works, right? All right, our opponent on the Blood Crypt here. What are they doing? Oh, we're getting Inquisition. Okay. Well, Inquisition is not bad for them here. It's never a bad card, but they're getting random tiers no matter what they do. So they better hope to have some more lands in hand. Now, our hand isn't really going anywhere. I think that's just a fact, but we do get a rank. Oh, okay. They playing Hollow One? This is a nice synergy too. You can tap the forest for black with the Urborg to actually allow you to cast these double black cards on turn 2 off of the turn 1 basic forest or whatever. All right, so our opponent needs land to even keep playing the game, which they have, which is fine. We have Abrupt Decay unless they just play a bunch of Hollow Ones or whatever. Just kidding, now we don't. I mean, both players are pretty low on resources here. They take our Abrupt Decay, which I think is actually better for me, maybe? Depends what they have, I guess. But I have all the, we know that we have all these 5-drops in our deck we want to play. And being able to play land plus Arbor Elf here opens them up to us, whereas taking the Arbor Elf from our hand, which would have been more risky on our opponent's part, but might have worked out a little better. I guess we're down this damnation too, so all right, fingers crossed top of the deck for a Ob Nixilis or something here. I'm not going to complain about Utopia Sprawl, given that now we can draw Garruk Apex Predator and win. That'd be something, right? Yeah, because this forest makes 8 mana right now. I'm sorry, 6 mana. Oh, they got a Goyf. All right, they got a 4/5 Goyf. They're down to 9, so they're just playing Shadow. All that said, if we just whiff over and over again, we will die. And our deck does have some bad draws. I mean, we can draw more Arbor Elves, we can draw more Utopia Sprawls, we can draw more lands, and we could just die to whatever a billion Death Shadow our opponent's about to play. Death Shadow is really up there on my list of most hated Magic cards, that's for sure. 1 mana 7/7s or 8/8s or whatever they are. It's just shouldn't be a thing. And the cost is not a cost. All that said, our opponent, we could actually now draw Death Cloud and just burn our opponent out for 4. Drawing Fatal Push is a card. If our opponent is light on threats, then it's fine. Maybe we'll kill him with the Arbor Elf. I think it's more like they're going to play Death Shadow here. Oh, no, that's even better. All right. Yeah, I feel pretty dead. Yeah, we're very dead. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. Conveniently enough to... I guess I can push the Goyf. Enough that Death Cloud would only do one, leave them at 1 life. I guess I need to push this now. So I can play any 5-drop I might... Well, that's actually... Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, this is the best stream. This is the best timeline for us. Our opponent actually goes down to 1 life. Now, Death Cloud isn't out. That's pretty good, too. Our opponent was very aggro with their life total here. I don't know if we're going to win, but we've got a shot. Getting to Fatal Push that Goyf before they Thought Seized us, and then getting to resolve Ob Nixilis, and now they don't even have something to kill us, we might get there. I mean, Death Cloud is the one I want to draw, but I mean, just taking this thing up to Ultimate might work. We did it! What the heck? What a game! Death Cloud for 1, please. Okay, I guess we won. Oh my gosh. Well, that was pretty nuts. Let's play game 2 against our Jund Shadow opponent. Wow. Kitchen Finks, get in here. That was nice. That was very, very nice. Okay, I'm over it. Oh, man. Do I want this here? I think I kind of want this here. It doesn't deal anything with flying. It combos very well with Kitchen Finks, so to block... yeah, I'm going to play this. Especially if we get into a grindy game. the thing is, Kitchen Finks persists back with a -1 counter on it. You can put a +1 counter on it with Bow of Nylea, which cancels out the -1 counter, and then it's ready to block and persist again. And if our opponent's playing a bunch of Tarmogoyfs and Death Shadows, that's actually a pretty powerful interaction. I don't think this is great. I don't think we'll be getting to 7 mana here, as good as that card is. Honestly, everything else seems pretty good. I'll cut a Unruly Acid Moss here. I might cut a 5-drop. Could also just, I mean, all of our cards are good here. Cutting them on Unruly Acid Mosses makes these Rain of Tears a lot worse, so I don't, and it's actually pretty, we're on the draw, though. I like it more on the play. I think it's actually pretty good against their deck. I'm going to cut the Thragtusk, I think. I just want all cards that can kill their stupid creatures, so when we start playing off the top of our deck, after they've destroyed our hand, we can kill the Goyfs and so on. We do. Lilianas scare me more than the creatures, actually, in this matchup. And we also have to keep in mind they're playing green here, so they're going to have, I would assume, Traverse, but they could also easily have, obviously, Temur Battle Rage to, you know, hit us for 30 or whatever with Death Shadow, because it's a fair card. Can you tell that I don't like Death Shadow? It's not even too good. It's just not very. I just don't like it. I just don't like 1 mana 7/7s, which seems to be they usually go down to like 6 life or whatever on turn 3 and play a 1 mana 6/6. And I get that they put themselves at a low life total. And hey, I mean we won that game because they put themselves at a low life total. But I feel like our opponent was a little overly aggressive with their life total for 1. But 2, typically like 7 life on turn 3 is not, oh, I can just burn them out of the game, or oh, my creatures can get there, because it's turn 3. You've barely done anything, and they've torn apart your hand already. But you know what? Their 7/7 still going to kill you because it's still a 7/7. All right, I think I'll keep this hand. It seems pretty reasonable. It's a turn 2 Rain of Tears if we're lucky. Something tells me we will have our cards taken out of our hand by discard spells, but it's got lands. It's got some good spells. It seems reasonable enough. Our opponent kept 7 as well after a bit of a pause, so I don't know if that means anything or if they're just getting a drink. The eternal question on Magic Online, how much can you read into your opponent's length of time they take to do things? Because there's somebody on the other end of that screen, and I can imagine that they're sitting there and they're just hunched over and they're like, what's the best play to make here? Oh, I have to think about this. This is so hard. Oh my gosh, what should I do to give myself the best possible odds of winning? Or for all you know, they're like cracking another, you know, getting another drink out of the fridge, or they're in the bathroom, or they're answering, getting the pizza at the door, or whatever, right? You can put so much thought into it and just trick yourself. Or they just, you know, we'll see. I don't know, maybe they are just very much debating their first land drop. It's got to be one of the two, right? All right, our opponent has come back, and now we actually got to keep our hand here, and we get to lead with this Arbor Elf. Although, with that said, we can't actually Rain of Tears on turn 2 with this hand. We need a Overgrown Tomb to get that done. So a fetch land or an Overgrown Tomb here will work. Looks like we might be getting, Fatal Push instead, so didn't really matter anyways. Let's see what our opponent's up to on turn 2. Nothing. Interesting. All right. Well, guess I'll also do nothing, although we have Abrupt Decay up here. So I guess the best case scenario is our opponent plays a Liliana or something, we Abrupt Decay it, and then draw into a black source. Looks like that's what's going to happen. I guess I'm going to discard this Rain of... Well, we're closer to casting Rain of Tears than we are Death Cloud. I guess I'll discard the Death Cloud. I'll probably immediately draw a black source, but yeah, what can you do? All right, Liliana's down. They discarded another Fatal Push. Well, this hand's getting pretty awkward. If we had one more black source, we'd be set here. I mean, if we had hit it there and we get a hit, you know, they're I don't know which one. They have all the mana the colors they need, but probably hit the Overgrown Tomb or something. Would have been very good for us. So my opponent has Delirium. They're searching out a creature. Well, at least we'll get a Fatal Push something, I guess. Just give me a black source. So next turn, just black land. That's all I want. I want to push this Tarmogoyf. Then I want to draw a black source and Rain of Tears their land. Then I want to draw a black source. Well, it doesn't matter. I just want to draw a 5th land at that point and cast Vraska. But this is a big draw right here. Yeah, it makes sense. For anybody trying to build this list at home, I would add another land or two to the deck. Look at my hand, buddy. Enjoy. Yeah, I mean, I just took, I took the list that at top 8 of the PPTQ locally. It did very well, but I think it definitely needs another land or two in the deck. You can get by with, yeah, this is sad. You can get by with a lot, and you can get away with a lot because of the Mana Dorks and the Utopia Sprawls and stuff. But at some point, you just have to play more lands, and that's the 5 to 10 matches I've played with it online. That's the verdict I've come to is that it needs another land in here somewhere. Probably cut the Garruk Apex Predator. As fun as Garruk Apex Predator is at 7 mana, and I love the card, you need to cut a land here. Yeah, this is the big one. We had a shot for a minute. Like we had multiple turns where we could have done something, but now our opponent's just going to rain down 6-7 Tarmogoyfs on us. I guess this Kitchen Finks buys a little bit of time though. I mean, just hitting any land here would be good because then I could at least Acid Moss. If we had just hit lands this game, we actually probably would have just kept our opponent from doing anything. We would have hit the Overgrown Tomb, then the Stomping Ground, then the Blood Crypts. We would have just kept our opponents from doing much at all. Given that they have 2 cards in hand, and we have all these cards in hand that are, land death spells, and they're just passing. Oh yeah, that's the actual tilter right there. That's the biggest tilt. I guess at least next turn we can Monvuli Acid Moss. Well, they're going to Abrupt Decay our Finks so they can get in. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, Inquisition way. It's very possible we could still come back and win this game. We have a lot of life. We go down to 18 from this hit. If their last card in hand is bad, we could conceivably draw into it. We have a lot of removal spells for that thing. Right on time, there's the Tarmogoyf. I don't think it matters what we hit here, but let's go ahead and hit the... the black mana is the most important thing to them, so if we're going to be blowing up multiple lands, we want to try to take them off all the black mana possible. Acid Moss, obviously the best one to lead with, because we get a land out of our deck. Well, our opponent's last card didn't seem to be great. If we hit one of our many planeswalkers to destroy Tarmogoyf, we're in a reasonable position. No! Oh my gosh, I almost have 6 through my turn there. I have 6 mana here. Yeah, just going to double Rain of Tears them. I can't take them off of colors. I could Rain of Tears the Stomping Ground. I'm going to Rain of Tears the Stomping Ground in the Forest, I think. It's possible that they don't have an easy fetch here. I mean, we have 1 turn left to draw an answer. Fingers crossed. Well, we're not dead. I mean, I can only assume that one of their 2 cards will kill this thing, but we're not dead. Doesn't take much to kill our beasts and kill us, but assuming they have none of that and their last 2 cards are air, then this is buys us a turn or 2. Looks like we're actually going to get the opportunity here. All right. See what they follow up with. I'd like to draw... I assume for sure they have another creature at this point, right? Oh my gosh. All right, now we're talking, everybody. Are we going to get back in this thing? I'm going to play Vraska. I'm going to use Vraska to destroy the Tarmogoyf. Okay. All right, now we're starting to cook with some gasoline here, as they say. And you know what? This beast is lethal in 2 turns. Have we gotten back into the game somehow? We did it! Oh my gosh! What a match! We get the Death Cloud burn for 1 to win game 1. And then, wow, we were going to draw so many lands. And then in game 2, we get to do that. We were so dead for so long. I don't know if they had green cards in their hand, but didn't have any more green sources to search for. That is unlikely. I would assume there's more Overgrown Tombs in there, but I guess it's possible. I don't know anything about the deck's mana base. It's possible they just had lands or Abrupt Decays, but if they would Abrupt Decay our Beast, I don't know what they have, but I know that we got there with Vraska, with Garruk. What a match. Man, look at this Death Cloud deck doing work in Modern. That was a lot of fun. Woo! I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mighty Modern. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hey, everybody. Welcome back for some more Death Cloud. I'm excited. And this hand is pretty nice, actually. I'm going to keep this one. We're on the draw, so a little worse. But all in all, this is a pretty good hand. We actually have access to an extremely powerful turn 2 if our opponent allows us to have it. Looks like they're leading on a Hallowed Fountain, but Discernment. It's okay. Gosh, I wish we were on the play. It's all I can think here. This Damnation and this Fatal Push are likely to be pretty bad against a Hallowed Fountain Serum Visions deck, but turn 2 Liliana and the Veil would have been really good. Unfortunately, I have a feeling this is going to work out in the worst way possible for us, where we do our thing to make 4 mana on turn 2, and then we play Liliana, the Veil, and our opponent just, Romance it or Mana Leaks it or Logic Knots it or whatever. Or not. Or we're going to catch a break and they're going to go for the Ascanta. Well, you know what? I won't lie. I'm going to help them transform that Ascanta. Because I am playing a Liliana this turn. That was kind of risky. That was dangerous for our opponent no matter what they did. I mean, I'm not going to say they shouldn't have played it because it's a Searcher Ascanta. Why wouldn't you play it? But this is not certainly not great for them. They will, I mean, in some sense, in one sense, so they will get to transform Search for Ascanta in all likelihood here. Which does help them after we've torn apart their hand to rebuild, but if they can't find a way to pressure Liliana, if they're just actual white-blue here instead of Jeskai, is it Marsh Flats? Okay. If they don't have Lightning Bolts or something to at least slow down Liliana, it's just going to run away with it. Although in their defense, it's also pretty hard to suspect a turn 1 Arbor Elf deck, Forest Arbor Elf, of going turn 2 Liliana. I don't at all blame them for the decisions they've made to get to this point. I guess I'll discard the Urborg. I don't really expect this Monvuli Acid Moss to resolve, but yeah, we'll try. Not beating a Logic Knot regardless here. Could be a Remand. Be great if it did resolve, right? Mana leaked and we have 2 mana open. No! Tilt. Alright. Well, this game was always going to be about this Liliana. They actually get to transform Search for Ascanta here. My plan is to tick Liliana, depending on what happens, obviously, is to keep Fatal Push in my hand if I can. Tick Liliana up to 7, then minus it to get rid of the Search for Ascanta, essentially. I mean, certainly not great, and we're not really doing anything with the board, but, I mean, this is the most dangerous card here. And it is very good. I mean, they can just activate it and then discard. So, and in some ways, it's not even bad. Liliana is sort of not even bad for them, other than the fact it's sticking up to an ultimate. And they kept whatever the card was on top. Well, they're thinking about it. I honestly think, unless they have something that really affects the board, just to activate Ascanta. Oh, they have Glimmer of Genius and Modern, huh? Okay. You know what? We might just get to Teferi next turn and lose the game. They went bottom at least. I think we're actually going to need to draw something here. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'd say this is worth losing my Arbor Elf. I think I want the forest left over after this. Let's see what I can do this for here. This does it for 2, which I think is what we want to do. Let's go ahead and start by taking up Liliana. We keep ourselves with this. I mean, we're not in a great spot, but they're in a worse spot, I think. Deathclaw for 2 gets rid of 2 of their lands. It gets rid of their entire hand, and then we still have Liliana. Or I can kick it up to 3, get rid of it. That can't be worth it. I'll Deathcloud for 2 here. Deathcloud is pretty uniquely good in this spot. I'm going to be honest, I don't know that we're going to win this game, but we're having fun. I think this has got to be correct. I think making them pitch their last 2 cards just has to be the right thing to do, especially after... Wow. Okay. I mean, we were going to draw out of it, I think, and I mean, that's obviously why I did is our opponent gets rid of 2 lands, we get to tick Liliana up, we get to hit their Search Vraska, we get to put the Search Vraska onto by itself, essentially -6 Liliana just to kill it, but then we'll draw out of it. Okay, there we go. I don't actually know that we were favored to win that game even after that, but I'll take it. Ob Nixilis, huh? Doesn't do much to creatures with flying. Gaining life doesn't seem relevant. This is decent in some matchups. You know, some matchups you grind it out, or you can kill their flyers or whatever with it. I don't think we want it here, though. All right, things I don't want here is Damnation, Fatal Pushes. I do like Garruk Apex Predator. I'm going to probably want the Kitchen Finks. And after that, I think it's just got to be Leyline of the Voids. Because they're playing Snapcasters and so on. This regenerates. I'm going to cut 1 Abrupt Decay, I think. Probably the Ob Nixilis here. I'm sorry, the Garruk Apex Predator. The Leylines sort of do the same thing as Damning Sphere against Snapcasters, except they also obviously hit Ascanta, so they're way better. Golgari Charm also destroys enchantments, including Detention Sphere, same as Abrupt Decay. And in fact, it also kills Snapcaster Mage, so, but it also regenerates our creatures. So I think it might, use this word, strictly better in the matchup, which is why I kept both of them in. All right, I'm going to keep this hand. Hand's not insane, but we do have a turn 2 Kitchen Finks, and then plenty of mana to cast whatever we do after that. Our opponent mulliganed down to 6, so that's a start. It's like a Death Cloud for 1 right there. That Death Cloud was so good last game. All right, more land, not exactly what we wanted. I guess I'll go ahead and choose black with this Utopia Sprawl. Vraska's pretty good against them. Not insane, but pretty good. I mean, it's a planeswalker, essentially. Well, I don't know what our matchup against control is like. And maybe I should have mulliganed given the leyline situation, but we are up a game. And, you know, I know that shouldn't matter, and I'm not saying it does matter or whatever, but usually when I play, it does mean I'm more willing to keep a risky hand. Our opponent just snap let that Kitchen Finks resolve, and they don't have a third land. And another Finks seems pretty good. I'm more willing to keep risky hands when I'm up a game. Maybe you shouldn't be, but it just feels like a free roll. I know it's not, but it just feels like if you're 1 card away from having a great hand or whatever, yeah, keep it, because worst case scenario, you get a free look at 7 next game, right? Looks like our opponent's just not going to get there. They just never found lands, and that means they're not going to be able to Wrath away. They need Path to Exile through the Kitchen Finks, so they're not going to get them. Also, we're going to draw Rain of Tears to really end it. There you go, everybody. That was nice. We Death Clouded a control opponent, and it was so good. It was so good to Death Cloud away their hand and their board and keep a Liliana around at the end of it. That was awesome. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Here we go with some more of this awesome Death Cloud deck. Unfortunately, this hand is a mulligan. Yuck. Well, I guess I'm on the draw. I got to keep this. Oh, I'm on the play. Oh, that's not so good. I thought we were on the draw. All right, well, if we hit a force on top of our deck, we're in great shape. You know, I have the 4 Blooming Marsh in here. The list I was sent had an additional force over the 4th Blooming Marsh. I think that's correct. I think I've got it wrong here. I just kind of reflexively put 4 of them in when I was building the deck. I think you only want 3 because the anti-synergy with the Arbor Elves is real. All right, Verdant Catacombs and Blood Kryptons. Our opponent playing Jund. Jund Shadow. Jund Black-Red Vengevine. I see, and we don't have lands, so we're dead. I guess we don't have to show them what we're playing. Let's see what they have. Black-Red Vengevine, I played it last week. The new talk of Modern, as it turns out. Although they appear to have a Jund version of it. It's a Viscerus here, okay. We're going to get a look at their deck. I mean, we basically, there's the Vengevine, and we're just dead pretty much. Not even that their start is insane, more that we just aren't getting to play here. Well, okay, that's a card. I guess if we can play Kitchen Finks next turn. Kitchen Finks can, I mean, it's one of the better cards to try to grind it out against the Vengevine. I do know that the Black-Red Vengevine deck has after a lot of playing it myself, it has a fairly high failure rate. It's not as good as everyone thinks, right? Obviously, the games that they just pop off and go crazy on you, yeah, the deck feels unbeatable. And even when you play it, sometimes it's unbeatable. But it also beats itself a fair amount of the time. All right, we're not winning this one. All right, so we do have 4 Leyline of the Void in our sideboard for this. Remember what I said about Frank Carson talking about having 4 new sideboard? Yeah, that's what we're doing here. All right, this doesn't work. This is actually pretty good against them. Slow, though. I think Kitchen Finks helps slow the bleeding as well. Don't need that. We want to slow down our deck. These Death Clouds are actually pretty bad, and in fact, horrendous here, as it turns out. Let's see here. Liliana also seems really bad against them. Let's get the other Finks. The question is, do I want, something like this, which is kind of nice, but obviously enormously slow. I don't know if we're going to need more finishers. Golgari Charm doesn't seem great. Kind of just might want the Damping Spheres, or, with this, I can get the bow. The bow is actually kind of attractive here if we're going to slow the game down, but let's get the Damping Sphere in there. At least it does something on turn 2 if their big turn's going to be their turn 2, Well, we're going to mulligan this one. Did we hit a Leyline here? We did not. I don't think I can mulligan this hand, though. All right, we'll get a basic forest. Play our Arbor Elf. I mean, we have a turn 2 Reign of Tears if their start isn't insane, followed by, Kitchen Finks or whatever else. Let's see how bad it is for us. A Gravecrawler and a Vengevine, huh? Well, that wasn't great for us. Urborg. Urborg's actually kind of sweet because we can tap the swamp for black to get our 3 mana here. Also, this hollow one, or not hollow one rather, this Vengevine deck doesn't play a lot of lands, so we might just get them with this. It's unlikely, but it's possible. Well, that doesn't flash back a Faithless Looting. Citrus Supplier is pretty good, though. And they hit 2 Vengevines, yeah. Here comes the 0-drop to bring him back. Yep. Like I said, I played this deck at a PPTQ a couple weeks ago. It took me 10 games. I played 10 games. I had 1 Vengevine in play after 10 games. And I started 3-1 in those 10 10 games. And I had 1 Vengevine. So it would make sense, obviously, that our opponent has 2 of them on turn 2. Well, I could play Leyline here, but we would die, so I won't be doing that. Guess we just play the Kitchen Finks. Like I said, Kitchen Finks isn't the worst against them. The life is good. You know, it trades once at least with the Vengevine. I mean, this is pretty bad for us, but remember I talked about the Frank Carson math. We have 60% chance of having a Leyline up in their hand, which would have easily won this game, but that did not happen. So we had to miss on that 60% chance, but then our opponent also had to have a great draw. Let's see if they slow down though, because the deck does peter out. You know, it puts a lot of resources into having that big turn early, but it can't always pay it off. So I think I'll get an opportunity to play Leyline here. Oh no, my opponent just has the best possible hand. Never mind. Didn't really get a play. I could play an Ob Nixilis, I guess. It cost me 2 life. My opponent had a really, really stupid hand. I guess I play Ob Nixilis. I actually think that, even though I actually enjoyed playing it, I think that this Black-Red Vengevine deck is really bad for Modern. And not because it's too good, because it's not. Like I said, I've played the deck. It has an enormously high fail rate that, you know, people don't, you don't ever think about the fail rate when you're getting run over by an insanely unlucky game like this or whatever for us, but that I don't think it's good for Modern because it takes all the variance inherent in Magic and it front loads it. This is like sort of the example, the historical example or whatever is you can print a card that says flip a coin, heads you win the game, tails you lose the game. And it's all coming at me, huh? Okay. And, you know, it's a balanced card because 50% of the time you win, 50% of the time you lose. But it's all RNG. It's not satisfying. And in my opinion, this Black-Red deck is closer to that than to sort of that bad thing than any deck we've ever had in at least recent memory in Modern. Because having played it extensively myself, you either have games like this where you just kind of go off and you have 2 Vengevines on turn 2, and then you have all the pieces to get them back on turn 3, and then on turn 4, and you have 1 basic swamp, and you still just can't possibly lose the game. And it feels great. Your deck's unbeatable. It's just mostly actually unbeatable by almost any deck in the format. Then you have games where you do nothing. I played, a couple weeks ago, I played Faithless Looting 4 times in one game. And I drew a bunch of this is after I did my initial thing, right? I drew 2 Vengevines and 6 lands. That's obviously just enormous and unlucky. That's bad variance, but the deck has so many cards that you can replace there, whether they be Bridge from Belows, or the Vengevines, or the more lands or whatever, right? There's a lot of cards in the deck in these situations that just don't do anything, or you just keep drawing Bridge from Belows, and you keep drawing Vengevines, and you don't have anything to discard them, and your deck does nothing, and you don't even get to play the game. There were multiple games I essentially scooped on turn 2, where I would mulligan to 5 or 6. All my deck could do was make a turn 1 Vengevine, and that's all I could do. It wasn't going to get better on turn 2 or 3, so I did it. And then my opponent answered it, and it's like, well, now my deck doesn't actually do anything. In those games, you're basically 0% to win, right? So, it's just the idea of your good hands are so good and your bad hands are so bad, and there's not much in between, and that is not healthy. It's not that it's not balanced or that it's broken, but it's just not healthy. It wasn't fun. Like this match we just played, it wasn't fun. There was no magic played here, right? No meaningful decisions were realistically made by either player in this game. They just had it this game. And maybe next round they won't have it. And that's all fine. And at the end of the day, our records might be whatever they were always going to be, but we didn't really get to have a lot of fun. And that's the difference between a healthy format and a balanced format. Anyways, obviously I got crushed here. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hello, everybody. I guess this is some bonus content for a couple reasons. One, I did what's basically every content creator's worst nightmare, where you record, you talk to the camera, you feel really good about what you're doing. Yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm really proud of this. And then you look at OBS and see, oh, it wasn't recording. And then Magic Online crashed on me anyway. So it's sorry, but in case you're interested, if this even makes it to air, here's some bonus magic of me locked deep into a game 1 with Mardu Pyromancer here. Pretty sweet. All right, so I think it's time to fire off a Death Cloud. Honestly, probably just Death Cloud for 1, though. I Death Cloud for 1 right here. I get rid of their Hazoret, their card in hand, one of their lands, and I still retain 5 lands for myself to play something next turn. I think that's best. This is actually Death Cloud for 2, isn't it? All right. All right, let's Death Cloud for 1. Yeah, I think that's good. We'll discard probably our other Death Cloud here. Look how strong Death Cloud is. I know the rest of the match you didn't get to see. It was pretty good, actually, back and forth. But it's so good in this moment right here. We get to make him sacrifice a Hazoret. We get to get their last card in hand. I think I probably pitched this Death Cloud. Although, interestingly, it's almost enough to just kill them. But I think just following up with Vraska and or Thragtusk is going to be better. Well, this is pretty sweet. All right, so look at that. Hazoret's gone. I'll sacrifice a land. My opponent sacrifices a land. And you could make the argument I could have just run it out there for 2. But I don't think that's good. I think that just getting their last card in hand, which, by the way, was a young Pyromancer. They were going to play Pyromancer and Flashback of Looting. So now they're playing off the top of their deck. Although, to be fair, they can Faithless Looting here. But it has to be very good to beat our Vraska and Thragtusk hand. We get to play Vraska and either destroy. I mean, I guess they're unlikely to play a non-creature permanent here. But we can just start plussing, and we'll probably just win with some assassin tokens here. More likely, though, I'll just be playing this Thragtusk. That seems like that's going to be pretty difficult for our opponent to work through anyways. This deck is sweet. I am loving, loving, loving this right now. Death Cloud, everybody, in Modern, making it happen. Against Mardu Pyromancer is a Tier 1 deck. A Tier 1 deck, by the way, that also had a very good hand this game. They Inquisitioned us on turn 1. You didn't see any of this, I guess. They Inquisitioned us on turn 1. They Faithless Looted away a push and a Kolaghan's Command. But then they played Pyromancer with Lightning Bolt on turn 3 when we Fatal Pushed it. They Inquisitioned away our Liliana. Oh, that Inquisition of Kozilek is a whiff, buddy. Sorry, friend. Anyways, our opponent had everything there's a Lingering Souls here. Our opponent had everything that you want as a Mardu Pyromancer player, and yet they are very dead, it looks like, to our Death Cloud deck here in turn 1, game 1 at least. All right, our opponents, they've Inquisitioned us, they saw our hand, now they're thinking, I can only imagine they're typing right now. Yep, all right, there we go, on to game 2, huh? Well, the question is, and this is interesting, I will note that the original list I got had Nihil Spellbombs in the sideboard, which I would happily board in here. I went with the Leyline of the Voids because of the prevalence of Bridgevine right now. I'm not sure about that, though. All right, I do think that I want Golgari Charms. This card is sweet. Great underutilized sideboard card. Destroys an enchantment, so I don't think that's relevant, but hey, it's there. Regenerate each creature I control, which can't come up, I suppose. But also -1/-1. That makes it a 2-mana answer to Young Pyromancer, but it also makes it an answer to all the Young Pyromancer tokens. Bold Nylea is also a pretty sweet one. I don't think we want it here, though. Don't think we need... You know, the question is, do we want the Leylines? Do we want them to have their graveyard value? They can have their graveyard value, I think. You know, we have board wipes. We have... we now have access to Golgari Charm to deal with their Lingering Souls and their Young Pyromancer tokens. I do think I want some more Kitchen Finks, so their deck is all about removal. And I can probably cut... As much as I love this Garruk Apex Predator, and trust me, I love Garruk Apex Predator, I don't think we want it on the draw. We have to cut some cards here. So I'm going to cut a Monvuli Acid Moss. Same idea on the draw. It's a little less powerful. It's great when you play it on turn 2, clearly. I actually like this against all their small creatures. They do have Hazoret, but that's fine. I can probably cut an Ob Nixilis and a Fatal Push. No, Liliana's not great here either, though. Yeah, I want the Ob Nixilis. Liliana is not very good against Mardu Pyromancer, especially if we're committing to let them have their graveyard value, and especially on the draw. Well, this hand has some nice cards. We also have to keep in mind we're probably playing off the top of our deck no matter what we do. I'm going to give it a shot. I mean, we've got mana, we've got good spells. You know, I could mulligan and I could have a faster star red. I could have an, an Arbor Elf or a Utopia's Brawl or something, and it could just get discarded away. At which point we've mulliganed into a hand, And obviously, maybe we don't get hit with a discard spell, but I don't love the idea of mulliganing a reasonable hand that can draw into a very good hand, in exchange for going down to 6 and taking a shot. One, that you get an unplayable hand, or two, that exactly what happens here, we get Inquisitioned into Oblivion. So I see oh, they actually took the Rain of Tears, not the Kitchen Finks. As much as I would love to Rain of Tears them, Black Stone Rain, with cool art too, I think this is probably just objectively better for us. All right, I'm just going to play this. I'm not going to fetch yet because this deck can fetch for basics pretty well, especially with this Urborg in play. And, there's a reasonable possibility if we hit a forest, we don't even have to fetch ever. We can just, use that Verdant as a swamp. Our opponent must be on one land over there. That's my guess. They took the Rain of Tears and now our Faithless loading on turn 2. Which means our hand is going to be gas. But we've got a lot of value here. I mean, making a 3/3 is good. Kitchen Finks is obviously great against their deck full of removal. They discard a K-Command and a Lightning Bolt, huh? Okay. Damnation, also good if they go wide. Oh, they didn't hit their land? Okay, well, they're going to give us a window here. And there you go. That's an Arbor Elf. Well, now I guess I'll play this. Because we're going to need to use it for this Arbor Elf. Need a forest in play. But yeah, the other reason I didn't want to fetch is because we need the 4th land, right? And it's going to depend on whether or not we untap with Arbor Elf. But I want the 4th land, so I don't want to take a land out of my deck. All that said, my opponent's just going to tap out for Young Pyromancer here. I'm happily going to fetch and play Garruk Wildspeaker. Well, on the one hand, we don't have to we can't let them pop off too hard with this Young Pyromancer. But on the other hand, we have Damnation to clean up. Or I'll just draw Fatal Push, because I'm very, very good at Magic. Trust me, sometimes it's actually painful being this good at Magic. Alright, yeah, this is pretty sick. That miscellaneous drop is going to doom our opponent, I think. Alright, play Garruk plus Garruk. Get our lands back. Fatal Push to Pyromancer. Yeah, this might do it, to be honest. Next turn, we're going to play Thragtusk. I guess if our opponent has Dreadbore, they're still in the game pretty well here even. Our hand is good, but our hand is actually kind of built to grind them out, not punish them for a slow start. So, they could, if they're missing land drops, but then find them as they are here, land drops on their last 2 turns after missing one. Their hand could conceivably, they do have the Dreadbore, just have enough gas in it to outgrind us. But if I hit land here, I can play Thragtusk, which ends the game a heck of a lot faster than Kitchen Finks. Here we go. Well, it's not bad, I guess. I guess I'm playing Finks and playing Arbor Elf. I know it looks really weird, by the way, to have all these creatures along with our Damnation. Trust me, I get it. It's just like when you look at the Ponza decks and see, why are they playing Anger of the Gods in the main deck with their Birds of Paradise? It doesn't make any sense. But it's worth it, because the idea with these decks, like I said, we're basically a Black-Green Ponza deck. The idea is that you get enough value out of the ramp aspect of the deck that when you get to the powerful top end, and your top end is very powerful, sometimes you just need to clean up what the opponent's been doing so that your top end can take over the game. And at that point, your mana dork, in theory, doesn't matter as much. and it's fine to Anger of the Gods them away, or in our case, Damnation them away, etc. All of that said, that Dreadboard was very good for our opponent and probably changed the course of this game. It's another Pyromancer. Our opponent's actually in a pretty reasonable-ish spot here. We have a lot of cards that can punish them. Obviously, if I just hit a, if I were to hit Deathcloud or something here and just get to tear apart their hand and their lands and their board and have myself a Kitchen Finks in the end of it, that would be ideal. But all in all, they're in a pretty decent spot. Pyromancer will keep them alive for a long time, and at least Damnation doesn't get... I'm going to try to win this game on the board, right? I'm going to try to use Kitchen Finks and Thragtusk and just beat them down and get through it that way. But we may have to, kind of fall back on the failsafe of Damnationing away the board, and at least it doesn't get hit by an Inquisition of Kozilek. All that said, our opponent could... they could climb back in this. They have Faithless Looting's in their graveyard. They get to sculpt their hand here with this one. I could also just hit a Planeswalker, though, right? I could hit, something to really pull us ahead there. They're down to one card in hand. They discarded a Bedlam Reveler. That's certainly not what we wanted. All right, well, first things first. Let's attack with the Kitchen Finks. In some ways, this might actually be a little dangerous. If for whatever reason, say my opponent, we basically gave them an opportunity, which they always have, but an additional opportunity to Fatal Push an Arbor Elf. Now, this is an interesting block. I don't know what that means, to be honest. I like it, though. Now I'm going to play this Thragtusk. Does that mean they have Anger of the Gods? Do the same thing, right? It would be weird for them to... the thing is, they know we have the Thragtusk. I don't think I can not play it, though. It's not like our board is winning the game right now. And, if they Anger of the Gods here, we get a rebuild with Arbor Elf. We still have the Damnation. I can see why they would want to do it if they have Anger or their own Damnation or whatever. They just have a Liliana. Okay. It's an odd block for them. If I'm sitting on their side, I probably feel like my only way, or at least my best way to win the game, is to make a bunch of young Pyromancer tokens. That's really interesting. I'm just going to throw away an Arbor Elf here. And I'm just going to send the team at Liliana. Yeah, if they had just taken the damage there, they could have given themselves the opportunity to draw, say, a Lightning Bolt or something, to make another token to be able to protect their Liliana and ride that to victory. I don't really know. I know that I get to send the whole board at Liliana now. And even if they have a Lightning Bolt for the Thragtusk and an Elemental to trade for the Kitchen Finks, I still get to kill Liliana with this Arbor Elf, then play my other Arbor Elf and a land. If I even want to play the other... Oh, they're going to trade with the Arbor Elf. Still very interesting. They want to take us off mana, I guess. I guess I'm going to play this just because we have so many 5-drops in our deck. This opens us up. We're still getting opened up here to Anger of the Gods. But my opponent's played in... I don't want to say an odd manner. I'm sure it makes sense from their perspective, but I'm willing to walk into it here, I guess. We have so many 5-drops in our deck. Oh, we're going to get Blood Mooned, I see. All right, that makes a little more sense. Doesn't seem good for them, though. They seem like they're in a lot of trouble. Well, I see what they wanted to do. They wanted to try to keep us off mana entirely, keep us to the 1 green mana, play the Blood Moon, and then try to get back in it. But they threw away so much of their board to try to make this happen. Maybe they have an Anger of the Gods to follow up. We're in a lot of trouble if that's the case. Bedlam Reveler, okay. This is certainly not bad for them. Discard a Liliana and a Thoughtseize. Draw 3, have mana. I mean, they might be able to turn this around. We can't do much. I mean, I guess they're... Oh, no. Dreadbore on our Thragtusk. Uh-oh. Yeah, well, they might be able to get there. Bedlam Reveler is a really good card. Yeah, I wish I could play that. If I attack with everything, I get him for 3. I think I'm dead. I don't think I can attack. I don't think getting him for 3 does anything, which means I don't think we're going to win. I was feeling pretty good about it. It turns out they were trying to set up a Blood Moon all that time. They really specifically needed Bedlam Reveler, though. I mean, they needed Blood Moon into Bedlam Reveler, which they had. They were down to 1 card in hand, which means they had to top deck some of that. So if they're going to give us some outs here, they have Faithless Looting in here. They should have just Faithless Looted with that land in hand. Well, if I could hit if I hit the 1 basic swamp in our deck, I guess we'd have a shot. Good to know. They're good to know they're bringing Blood Moon against the 2-color deck, though. So from here on out, yeah, they've realized I have a Faithless Looting. Okay. So game 3, at least I can fetch out a basic. But if we do, savage, if we're able to just, get pretty lucky and rip the basic swamp off the top, we'd win. I say we'd win. I would assume we'd win. We could kill the Blood Moon and then set up a big Death Cloud. I don't like this attack. I mean, I guess they have to try to kill me at some point, but I get a free attack in now. I really wish I could cast these cards. I won't lie. I guess that attack's fine if they just think they're throwing these away for the rest of the game. They have... Gosh, you still have another Faithless Looting in there. Yep. I wonder if I should bring in the Ley Lines. I mean, it's pretty good against Bedlam Reveler as well. The thing is, we do have good cards we can draw here. I could hit Garruk Wildspeaker and just make a couple beasts and try to get there, but, the turns in which we have to draw relevant cards are very low, given that they get to Faithless Loot and just churn out Lingering Souls here. Maybe I will put a couple Ley Lines into the deck for game 3. In game 3, I kind of like just being faster and going for a broken start, but, that can get overrun a little bit by an Inquisition, Kozilek, or so on. Alright, they have a K command to return a Bedlam Reveler to their hand and make us discard a card. Yeah, I think we're pretty dead here. I guess we basically have this turn to rip our... we have this turn to rip our basic swamp off the top out of 42 cards. Yeah, it's not going to do it. Alright, well now they have Lingering Souls, a flashback next turn, plus a Bedlam Reveler to play. Yeah, this one's pretty over. Well, it's a good game, though. Like I said, we did not have a good draw to punish them. We have a good draw to grind them out, but if they keep a 1-lander, miss their first land drop, and then hit their second and third land drop on turns 3 and 4 off the top of their deck, well, then their hand's going to be gassed to keep up, and then they were able to turn the corner because of that. And this one will be over pretty soon, it looks like. I don't think Garruk Wildspeaker does us any good at this point. Would have been quite a different game if I had just fetched for a basic swamp earlier, but I did not know they were going to have Blood Moon in game 2 against a 2-color deck. Lesson learned, I suppose. I'll take one more draw step here. See what we can do. That's not going to do it. All right, on to game 3. All right, so for game 3 here, what do we want? Well, I won't lie, I kind of want this. It's pretty good. It's probably not good enough, though. All right, I think I want Liliana. No, I don't want Liliana. I want a couple Leyline of the Voids. I maybe don't want them all, but I actually think I can probably cut a Death Cloud here, and I can probably cut this. Yeah, as long as we're careful to fetch for our basic swamp here, we actually have a lot of outs. And again, putting this on a basic forest, Blood Moon's not even that good against us. It was unfortunately good against us in that game, and that's how, unfortunately, that is how Blood Moon works, is that even against decks it's not good against, it still just steals games. Let's cut a Finks. I guess I'll give this a shot. I know it looks weird to only play 2 ley lines when we have 4, and maybe it's just wrong. Maybe I'm just supposed to play all 4 of them. But the thing is, against a deck like Mardu Pyromancer, they can play even with, they're not reliant on their graveyard. They just use it for value, and we could draw multiple ley lines and lose because we're down a card, even if we shut off their graveyard. So I'm into this, though. This hand is explosive. All right, so we'll lead with the Arbor Elf here. So we have 4 mana next turn if our opponent doesn't hit us with the discard spell. If they hit us with the discard spell and they take our Utopia Sprawl, we might just do nothing, which is unfortunate. But if they take the Finks, we should have a play no matter what, is the point. We either get to play Utopia Sprawl and have access to 4 mana. And if we draw something good to pay that off, we can do pretty broken things here. Like, I would really love to somehow have all that happen and then draw Monvuli Acid Moss and destroy our opponent's land, but I think we're probably getting Inquisitioned here. Nope, it's face looting. All right. All right, well, this looks to set up pretty well for us then. It means we can play Utopia Sprawl and Kitchen Finks this turn, and then you be set up to Utopia Sprawl. That gives us 4 mana, right? Put it on the forest, tap for 2, untap it, tap for 2 more, 5, and then we have Thragtusk next turn. All right, so let's see if we hit something broken here. We did not, but that's okay. And we get to play around Blood Moon. We just made all their Blood Moons bad because we get to choose black on this. We get to tap it for green. We get to untap it. We get to tap it again. We get to play this Kitchen Finks. Yeah, this is a much better start for us. Now, we could still get punished pretty hard by something like an Anger of the Gods or so on if they have that. I don't know if they do. They discarded a Lingering Souls and a K command. But we are in a great position now to be able to really pay off any good draws we have in our deck. And like I said, we have a lot of 5-drops we can play. We have a lot of good 4-drops. We're going to Inquisition away our Abrupt Decay here, but honestly, that's just fine for them. It's not even that good. I would certainly like to have Abrupt Decay. I'm not saying that, but and they have to deal with this. Well, they don't have to deal with this Thragtusk now, I guess. Bolt our Arbor Elf a little late. Hey, look at that. Well, I guess we're not. So I have access to 1, 2, 3, 4. It's be 1, 2, 3. So it's 4 no matter what we do. Well, that was a big play for our opponent. Now they're in a pretty good spot. Or at least a pretty reasonable spot, I guess. Now this is kind of awkward. I mean, I have to put it here, but I legitimately don't know if I want to choose green or black. I guess I choose black. I'm just thinking if we get Blood Mooned here, do we have more double black or double green cards that matter? We might actually have more double green cards, to be honest. We could. The thing is, Garruk Wildspeaker, I believe, is our green draw, double green draw. Kitchen Finks. Whereas our double black draws are things like Ob Nixilis. Yeah, I think I have to choose black. Our double black draw is things like Ob Nixilis. Death Cloud is triple black, obviously, but etc. Well, let's see here. This is going to be an interesting game because our opponent has card advantage on us right now with us drawing these Utopia Sprawls. Oh, wow, and they're just turboing out a Bedlam Reveler. Wow, they could play... Okay, interesting. Well, this is pretty good. But we have so many draws right here that are great. That's not really one of them. In fact, it's terrible right now. Okay, well... Can't always get lucky, I guess. I don't know. I don't think we're winning right now. It's kind of rough. We draw this Leyline of the Void at this point of the game. And this is getting, I mean, it's why I ran 2. Like I said, imagine if we had 4 and we already had one to play. Well, if we had one to play, it'd be fine. But just drawing multiple of them is going to be really rough. But the thing is, unlike other graveyard hate cards, Leyline of the Void, while obviously better on turn 1, it doesn't remove what's in their graveyard immediately. It leaves it in there. So for the rest of the game... Okay, interesting play here. Our opponent lands the Blood Moon, but, I mean, that is... Theoretically, that's fine for us. We get punished by drawing Garruk Wildspeaker. That's basically it. Alright. This looks like a nice draw. I think I'm actually going to attack with both of these creatures and go for the Gusto here. I think it's actually pretty safe. I'm going to minus this to give our opponent's creatures -1/-1. I think we can beat the Blood Moon, is what I'm saying. Oh, no, it's all creatures. Oh, I misread so hard. All right, that's fine. We'll get in for 5, though. I misread that so hard. I thought it was your opponent's creatures. All right. Well, that's fine. That's not it. That's not a bad result there. All right, I'll play the Leyline here. Pass the turn. So this is still, and you might even argue this was better because now our opponent goes for Lingering Souls, and we can get rid of those as well. I think the plan is just going to be to fight through the Blood Moon. It's why I chose double black on this. We have green mana here. Yeah, here comes the Lingering Souls. I'd really like for them to attack with this. And I think they're probably going to here. I guess we'll also see what we draw. All right, so the good news is now they have nothing in their graveyard with any value. Looks like they pitched a Camball and a Lingering Soul, so they get no... I can't tell if they did or not. I may as well block here. Ooh, that's pretty good. Does that change things for me? Do I just want to slam that now? I kind of think I do. Yeah, I want Vraska here. And I'm just going to plus it. Well, the problem with plussing it is we might just get Dreadboard again. The Dreadboards have been very good for our opponent in this match. In fact, it's the only reason they've won a game. Minusing to kill Blood Moon, though, while unlocking parts of our deck, just doesn't seem quite as good here. And I think I still attack with my Thragtusk. Maybe I should have attacked first. The thing is, if my opponent wants to attack Vraska to kill it, they're still going to lose all their creatures. It's still a trigger. So if they have Dreadbore, things aren't great for us, but they have to have exactly Dreadbore and the 2 cards they have in hand. I mean, they've had Dreadbore every time they needed it this match, so we'll see if they do here, although I think they would have slammed it already if they did. But they really have to have it. I mean, otherwise you're double lightning bolting Vraska, or you're bolting Vraska and playing Bedlam Reveler, and losing your Bedlam Reveler to kill it. By the way, we still have a Thragtusk. Like, those things aren't great, and we have this Golgari Charm in waiting. All right, well, we had a Golgari Charm, now we don't. All right, they actually escalated by discarding a card there. So they've drained. The thing is, this keeps our Vraska in the game here. I don't even think they're going to attack it. Attacking Vraska. Oh, they are. But they're going to attack me. Yeah, okay. Well, I don't think that's great either. All right, I think we're in a winning spot. Okay, that is... Well, that's the one card we can't cast. But now that Vraska actually took a turn and survived, I'm going to destroy the Blood Moon so I can play it. I actually think I just make a beast and pass. I think that we can play slow now. Attacking is tempting, but that means if our opponent draws a removal spell for the beast token, they get to use the Bedlam Reveler to kill our Vraska. Meanwhile, if we just pass with 2 blockers up, then what are they going to do? They can pressure Garruk, they can pressure Vraska with the token, but we can just throw our token in front of the Bedlam Reveler, and if they have removal spell, we can throw the Thragtusk in front of it. Okay, instead they have a Thoughtseize. Yeah, that's not the draw you wanted here. I understand. I don't know if that was just thrown in the towel or they just really wanted this prowess trigger, but it's not going to work out for them either way. All right, I think we might have got there here. Sorry you missed out on game 1. It was a grindy but fun affair. All right, so... Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to just trade this Bedlam Reveler off with my Thragtusk here. Have everything we need to win the game after that. Keep in mind, by the way, I don't know if my opponent realized this, Leyline of the Void only applies to opponents. Remember that. So it doesn't affect us, so we still get the value off of our Thragtusk, for instance. And our Kitchen Finks persist. All right, go ahead and plus here. Vraska in Modern, that's a lot of fun, I won't lie. I guess since we have lethal even through a removal spell, I should hold Kitchen Finks in case there's an Anger of the Gods. That's basically the only thing I'd care about here. But I think this should do it. GG's, my opponent says. All right. GG's. There you go, everybody. We death clouded out Mardu, Pyromancer. Probably the best. I don't know if you call it a mid-range or control deck, but it's an extremely good deck in the format. Certainly beaten me a few times here on Modding Modern, but we took it down there. Everyone, thank you for watching. I'm Corbin Hostler. That was Death Cloud. Shout out to Brian from my hometown for helping me with the list. Thank you for watching.